I can't talk about spices without talking about turmeric. Turmeric is quite the buzz spice and has been for quite a while, and with good reason. And it's got just such a lovely orange glow. I think that turmeric is beautiful. It also might be one of the more difficult spices to integrate into your life if you are not familiar with using it or weren't raised using it. So, a few notes about using turmeric. You can use it fresh or dried. If you can access it fresh, that's great. And it can be used very similarly to ginger if you access it fresh. Most people are going to be getting it dried and powdered. And the dried powdered turmeric can be used in food, but it needs to be maximally bioavailable. You need to use heat and you need some kind of oil or fat. Of course, traditional South Asian food shows us this in that you would typically have a little bit of oil or ghee, and you would add in your spices like your turmeric or your cumin or whatever you're going to be using into that oil or ghee and saute that and make that all toasted and kind of more aromatic before you add in other foods. So that's one of the things you need to think about when you're using turmeric is that it needs heat, it needs fat, and that's how it's going to be maximally bioavailable. It's also great to throw some black pepper in there. I'm going to show you one of my very favorite recipes later with turmeric that incorporates heat and fat, and maybe in a surprise way because we won't be making curry. So wonderful stuff turmeric is. There is so much research out there about turmeric. It always blows my mind to think about it. There's more than 7,000 published papers on primary literature on turmeric alone. And you might be thinking, what is this stuff good for? Well, it's similar to ginger. It's wonderful for different types of inflammation and lots of excellent research around it being very beneficial for joint inflammation, skin inflammation, a lot of traditional use for both skin and GI as a tonic for both the skin and the GI. It's also really helpful in certain types of infections. It's one of these herbs, I think a little bit like garlic, that gets into your body, but it's not as bioavailable as garlic, which is one of the reasons there's so many products on the market to try to increase the bioavailability. But my guess is that human beings who have used a lot of turmeric have known all along the best way to increase the bioavailability is heat and some fat with it. So I also like to think about turmeric as an herb that is really helpful for a lot of the confusion that we give our immune system around different types of chemicals, things. If you know what an epigenetic modifier is, there's some interesting research around turmeric and it helping with some of the challenges, overall lifestyle challenges that we have in our world today. So when you hear about something like if you do this over your life, it'll increase chances of cancer, or you hear about microplastics, or you hear about genetic predispositions to things, turmeric isn't like a magic bullet, but it can help with the expression of certain types of qualities in health that are undesirable. So, that's super vague and it's hard to get into all of the research on it. But if you can go to places like PubMed.com or go online and look at some of the different research around turmeric in all different types of health conditions. Everything from looking at antioxidant, anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, helpful with blood lipid levels, helpful in diabetes, and neurodegenerative diseases. And one of my favorite research studies has turmeric, and it was used extensively in a study that was super cool where they looked at people that were heading to the direction of diabetes. They were pre-diabetic. And the placebo group just kept going with what they were doing. The other group just added a little bit of turmeric to their diet. And at the end of the research time period, no one in the turmeric group had actually transitioned from pre-diabetes to diabetes, but a lot of people in the placebo group had. So that was actually really neat to take a look at how that ended up working out. So turmeric, very cool stuff. Again, this is probably not one you can add easily at the end of your cooking, but it doesn't hurt. It's not like it wouldn't do something, but you want to add it more when you are cooking with that fat and heat. And traditionally, sometimes it is added to milk with some sweetener. And that would be any type of milk would do as long as it had fat in it. So if it's some type of nut milk or dairy milk or whatever works well for you. So you want to think about, increasing your turmeric levels. It's very, very affordable is one of the things I like the most about it. If you're looking at a medicinal dose of 2 grams a day, which is a significant medicinal dose, it will cost you 3 cents a day. So you are looking at, if you buy it in a larger amount at your Indian grocers, you're looking at something like $1 or a little bit more a month. And one of the other things that I really love, $1 a month. One of the things I really love about turmeric is I think of it as a multi-generational spice medicine. And that means if you live in a household of people that have elders or young people, or you're around a lot of people, turmeric will probably benefit everyone. And you can add it in there and know that it's going to be helpful for preventing a lot of degenerative diseases, whether they're cardiovascular in nature, inflammatory, or around blood sugar levels. So there's a lot of different cool stuff. So again, don't have to take my word for it. The research is out there on turmeric, and it's also delicious and aromatic and makes things yellow, which can be a good and bad thing. I bet a lot of, some of you have some yellow containers or appliances in your house. I know my juicer is yellow from running fresh turmeric through it. So go with turmeric, and hope you can find some fun ways to add it to your diet. And I'll be showing you one of my very favorite ways shortly.